everyone, Amy Bowser-Tennant here, the Genealogy Reporter, and it is another episode of Genealogy Tip Tuesday. I want to share with you some ideas on how to find the parents of an ancestor that was born pre-1850. Why am I picking that exact date? Because in 1850, the U.S. federal census changed. It started recording everybody by name. So anyone in the household, they were listed on the 1850 census. And so a lot of times we use those records to give us an indication or a hint or a clue as to who someone's parent might be. But when you run across an already established family man or family woman, a mother or father in the 1850 census, there is no way, right, to find out who their parents are using census records, or at least not census records only. Because if you were to follow them back in time into the 1840, 1830, 1820, and so forth, those census records only record the name of head of household. Nobody else in the house is listed. So sometimes we get a real roadblock right about that time frame of 1850. So I want you to follow along with me as I share with you how I found Catherine Coddington's parents. Now, what you need to know about Catherine is that she was born in about 1814 in Maryland. That information came from the 1850 census. I knew she was married to James, and they had numerous children, well-established family in Bureau County, Illinois in 1850. I needed to first find out what her maiden name was. And to do that, I traced each and every one of her children until they died. And several of the children's death certificates included their mother's maiden name, which they said was Fear, F-E-A-R. So now I've got this Catherine Fear Coddington, born 1814 in Maryland. As I continued to do more research on the Coddington family as a whole, I learned specifics about Catherine and where she came from. For example, there was a biographical sketch found online about her husband James, and it mentioned that his wife Catherine had come to Bureau County in 1834 with her family. Okay, 1834. She was 20 years old. She came with her family. It doesn't say she came with her dad. She didn't say she came with both of her parents. It says family. That could be a brother. That could be cousins. That could be any number of individuals. But we might hope that it was her parents, or at least some close relative. So I'm wondering, if the family came in 1834, maybe some of them stuck around and are in Bureau County, Illinois in the 1840 census. So I go to Bureau County, Illinois and start searching the census for any family with the surname of Fear. And I found one, John Fear. The problem is, I don't know how old he is exactly. He fits right in that column with a little tick mark between 40 and 49. Now, if he's closer to 40 years old, then he's likely a brother. If he falls closer to the age of 49, he could be Catherine's much younger father, and a father that had her at age 20 or 21, something like that. So I didn't know, but I wanted to trace John forward and see, how it played out, exactly how old he was and so forth. And so I followed him forward to 1850 to see where he was. Nope, couldn't find him. So then I realized I'm going to need to go back further. Now, we've got James and Catherine Coddington in 1850 in Bureau County, Illinois. We know that they were there in 1840, as well as another head of household named John Fear. We know that John could be her relative. We might assume he is, and he might even be her father, but we don't know. So I go back to 1830. Well, where would the Fear family be in 1830? I would speculate they're in Allegheny County, Maryland, because again, with that biographical sketch information, I learned that they were from Allegheny County, Maryland. So I go into the 1830 census for that county in Maryland and find that there are numerous families with the last name of Fearer, F-E-A-R-E-R. Now, look, that is really close, and you should always pay attention to those closely related surnames because lots of people changed the spellings or dropped off an ending or what have you. And so I started reviewing the several heads of household, and I noticed one that really stuck out to me, and it was a woman, Eliza C. Fearer. And she happened to have a daughter just the right age for our Catherine. So I wanted to determine from that point, okay, Elizabeth is the head of household. Was she the head of household 10 years ago in 1820? Or would there be a husband listed then? Now, it should be noted that while I was looking at Eliza C. Fear on this census record, I noticed that just above her was listed Benjamin Coddington. Who's Benjamin Coddington? Well, that is Catherine's future father-in-law. Good indication that there's a relationship there. A lot of times these families lived together and moved together, right? We hear that a lot. So I started reading about John Fearer Sr. I found him in the 1820 census, listed right next to Benjamin Coddington, and I assumed that must be then the man, the head of household, who passed away sometime between 1820 and 1830 census. And I found his will. It was dated 28 November 1829, and within that will, a John Fearer Sr. said, he mentions his first wife, Margaret, and the following children, John Jr. and William. From his second and current wife, Elizabeth, he had Elizabeth, Daniel, George, Samuel, Katie, spelled C-A-T-Y, Joseph, Polly, Jonathan, James, Levi, and Nancy. Now, the fact that Katie was spelled C-A-T-Y and my Catherine was spelled C-A-T-H-E-R-I-N-E, I thought this is a really good match. Look at all the things that go together. We've got a fear or fearer man living next door to Benjamin Coddington, the future husband of my Catherine Fear Coddington. We have a girl the right age in both John Fearer's house and then later his widow's house. And we know that she moved to Bureau County, Illinois. She was married to the Coddington family, and so did these people. So lots of information going together. Then I did a Google search. I wanted to do a Google search more on John Fear Jr. Now that would have been likely the man I found in Bureau County, Illinois. If Dad, John Sr., had died in 1829, as it mentions, then perhaps that spawned the move to Bureau County, Illinois. I found a Historical Encyclopedia of Illinois, Volume 2, on Google Books, and it said of John Fearer Jr., so this would have been Catherine's older brother. In 1836, John Fearer brought his family to Illinois. From Wheeling, West Virginia, the journey was made entirely by water. A landing on Illinois soil was made at Hennepin. James Coddington, from near the Fearers' old home in Maryland, had already settled north of Princeton in Bureau County, and later married John Fearer's sister, Catherine. There is some great information. The family found a home at Coddington's until Mr. Fear rented land nearby. So I think when we combine all of those sources, we have enough evidence to say that our Catherine Coddington was Catherine Fear or Fearer Coddington. She was the daughter of John Fear Sr. and this Elizabeth, and they were from Allegheny County, Maryland. So that's how you do it. Little by little by little, putting these things together. And though I don't have a record that literally says Catherine was the daughter of, these people, I do have all these different pieces that I can put together and draw a sound conclusion that, yeah, John Fear Sr. and this Elizabeth of Allegheny County, Maryland are the parents of my Catherine Fear Coddington. Just feels so good to get in there and get those records and have it all work out. It doesn't always work that way, does it? But hopefully some of these tips will help you in overcoming a problem with finding parents of one of your early ancestors. Thanks for joining us here on Genealogy Tip Tuesday. I look forward to seeing you again. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We need you. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.